Revolvers have long held a reputation as dependable workhorses within the firearms community, often admired for their streamlined design, inherent power, and perceived unwavering reliability. It's easy to assume they are virtually indestructible. However, even the most steadfast revolver is not entirely impervious to malfunction. Indeed, these seemingly flawless firearms do possess a vulnerability. Today, our focus will be on the primary mechanical concern that can affect revolvers: timing malfunctions. As a longtime proponent of the revolver's inherent dependability, I find a particular comfort in a firearm that doesn't depend on detachable magazines or intricate feeding mechanisms. Yet, acknowledging that no machine is without its limitations, revolvers are not exempt from potential issues. For individuals who currently own a revolver or are contemplating acquiring one, comprehending potential problems and recognizing early warning signs is paramount. I vividly recall witnessing the potential hazards of a revolver with compromised timing firsthand. During a shooting session with a friend and an older Iver Johnson revolver, the experience left a lasting impression, and quite literally, a scar near my eye. This incident served as a potent reminder that despite the renowned reliability of revolvers, a solid understanding of their inner workings is crucial for both safe operation and optimal performance. Stay with me as we thoroughly examine this critical aspect. For daily concealed carry, revolvers have consistently been my preferred recommendation. The rationale is simple. They are simply effective. Beyond their inherent power, they are also characterized by their uncomplicated design and consistent dependability. In contrast to semi-automatic pistols, revolvers do not rely on magazines susceptible to jamming or feeding systems that demand immaculate conditions to operate. Their function is governed by a direct principle. Trigger actuation initiates cylinder rotation, aligning the subsequent cartridge for firing. This inherent simplicity is the cornerstone of their renowned reliability. While the first recognized the utility of semi-automatic pistols in certain roles, they are not without their inherent complexities, such as magazine-related failures, stovepipe malfunctions, and the well-known issue of limp wristing. Revolvers, conversely, remain indifferent to grip firmness or adverse weather conditions like rain. These factors have minimal impact on their operation, providing them with a distinct advantage in certain situations. However, reliability should not be mistaken for infallibility. Despite my strong affinity for revolvers, they are fundamentally mechanical devices, and as such, susceptible to wear and tear. The singular mechanical issue that can surface, even in the most meticulously crafted revolvers, is a timing problem. Although infrequent, its occurrence can transform a trusted revolver into a potential safety risk. Therefore, while revolvers may circumvent the common malfunctions of semi-automatics, understanding their specific potential weaknesses is essential. Acquiring the knowledge to identify and address these issues proactively is crucial to ensure your revolver remains the dependable tool you rely upon. Let's now delve into the specifics of timing malfunctions. What exactly constitutes a timing issue and its inherent significance? Fundamentally, timing describes the critical synchronization between the rotating cylinder and the stationary barrel as the trigger is engaged. Under normal operating conditions, the cylinder executes a precisely measured rotation, securely positioning a cartridge chamber in perfect alignment with the barrel's forcing cone. This precise mating ensures the projectile's unimpeded passage into the barrel and onward to the intended target. However, consider the scenario where this timing becomes disrupted. Visualize a precision instrument, like a meticulously engineered watch mechanism, suddenly faltering in its rhythm. A comparable disruption occurs within a revolver experiencing timing problems. The cylinder's rotation becomes insufficient, or it fails to achieve proper lockup. Instead of achieving seamless alignment, the chamber rests marginally off-center, marking the inception of potential complications. The most readily apparent indication of a timing anomaly is the visible expulsion of particulate matter or metallic fragments ejected laterally from the firearm immediately after discharge. This phenomenon arises because the bullet is forcibly propelled into a misaligned barrel, causing minute pieces of lead or the bullet's jacket material to shear away. This is not merely a cosmetic issue, it presents a genuine hazard. I can personally attest to this danger, having been struck by lead fragments emanating from a friend's revolver suffering from timing issues. Believe me, it is an experience best avoided. However, the potential risks extend beyond mere physical discomfort. A cylinder that is not correctly aligned can distort the bullet's form, negatively impacting its accuracy and potentially inflicting progressive damage to the forcing cone. This cumulative stress can manifest as cracks, material fatigue, or other structural failures that can be costly, and in some instances, impossible to remedy. A complicating factor is the subtle nature of timing problems. When employing double-action firing, the rotational inertia of the cylinder might, fortuitously, carry it sufficiently far to achieve lockup just prior to firing. Conversely, in single-action mode, the issue tends to become more pronounced, as the cylinder's locking mechanism may not consistently engage before the hammer's release. Comprehending timing issues transcends basic safety concerns. It is integral to preserving your revolver's optimal operational state. Developing the ability to recognize early warning signs can avert potentially substantial repair costs and ensure your revolver retains the dependability it possessed when initially acquired. In the subsequent section, I will elaborate on the genuine ramifications of disregarding these issues and explore proactive measures you can adopt to preclude their occurrence. Stay with me as we continue this important discussion. When timing irregularities begin to manifest in a revolver, neglecting them is decidedly inadvisable. Be assured, the repercussions can escalate to become both perilous and financially burdensome. Initially, the indicators might appear inconsequential, perhaps a fleeting spray of debris post-firing, or a subtle degradation in accuracy, yet, if left unaddressed, these seemingly minor defects can compound, evolving into significant malfunctions. One immediate threat is the projectile debris itself. When a bullet is coerced into traversing a misaligned barrel, it can sever minute slivers of lead or jacket material. This ejected matter does not simply disappear. It is propelled outward from the gun's periphery with sufficient kinetic energy to inflict injury upon yourself or individuals in close proximity. I gained first-hand knowledge of this potential danger during my youth. A companion discharged a revolver with timing issues in my vicinity, resulting in a lasting scar near my eye from a fragment of airborne lead. It is not merely an annoyance. It constitutes a tangible peril. Beyond this immediate hazard, there is the consequential damage inflicted upon the revolver itself. A misaligned cylinder imposes considerable stress upon the forcing cone. Over extended periods, this stress can precipitate cracks, material chipping, or even catastrophic structural failure. And consider this crucial point. The expense associated with replacing a compromised barrel frequently approaches the acquisition cost of a brand new revolver. In certain unfortunate scenarios, the firearm may become irreparable. However, the ramifications do not end there. A deformed bullet, a direct consequence of timing malfunctions, will not travel through the barrel in a controlled manner, invariably leading to diminished accuracy. For an individual who relies on a revolver for personal protection, this is patently unacceptable. One must possess absolute confidence that upon trigger pull, the projectile will strike its intended point of aim. The most severe outcome, while statistically infrequent, is the possibility of a catastrophic structural failure, often termed a kaboom. While it is improbable that timing issues alone would instigate a complete firearm rupture, prolonged inattention to these problems can incrementally weaken a revolver to its breaking point. The encouraging aspect is that these timing malfunctions are, in essence, avoidable. They do not typically arise suddenly. Rather, they tend to develop incrementally over time. By proactively identifying early indicators and taking appropriate action, you can effectively mitigate potential risks and ensure your revolver maintains optimal functionality. In the subsequent section, we will explore the methods for accurately diagnosing these problems and the remedial steps you can take to address them before they escalate into more serious concerns. Early detection of timing irregularities can spare you considerable inconvenience and expense. The critical element is possessing the knowledge of what to observe and how to assess your handgun. Fortunately, the diagnostic process for timing issues is not as complex as one might initially assume. One of the most straightforward techniques for identifying timing problems is to carefully observe your revolver's performance during single-action operation. When you manually cock the hammer, the cylinder should rotate and firmly lock into its designated position prior to the hammer's release. If the cylinder fails to fully engage the lock or exhibits any hesitation in its rotation, this constitutes a clear warning sign. This particular symptom can be more challenging to discern during double-action firing, as the inherent momentum of the cylinder's rotation may obscure the underlying issue. Another revealing indicator is the presence of expelled debris. Should you observe minute fragments of lead or bullet jacket material being ejected from the sides of the revolver upon firing, it is highly probable that the cylinder is not achieving proper alignment. This is not merely a superficial issue. It serves as an unambiguous indication that a mechanical discrepancy exists. For a more tactile evaluation, you can perform a manual check of the cylinder's lockup with the firearm completely unloaded. Manually cock the hammer and gently attempt to rock the cylinder back and forth. A revolver with correct timing will exhibit a secure feel, with minimal discernible movement. Conversely, if the cylinder feels loose or exhibits excessive play, it suggests a potential timing problem. If uncertainty persists, it is advisable to consult a qualified firearm specialist. These professionals possess the specialized tools and in-depth knowledge to definitively ascertain if your revolver is experiencing timing issues and can recommend the most appropriate course of action. Remember, proactive detection of these problems is paramount to preserving your revolver's safety, dependability, and readiness for any situation. In the following discussion, we will address the necessary steps to take upon discovering a timing malfunction and explore preventative measures to minimize its future occurrence. Stay with us. Should you ascertain the presence of timing issues in your revolver, it is crucial to remain calm. Reassuringly, the majority of such problems are resolvable, especially when identified in their early stages. The immediate and essential first step is to cease operation of the revolver without delay. Continuing to fire the weapon can induce further damage, potentially escalating repair costs, or, more critically, compromising safety. Your most prudent course of action is to entrust the firearm to a reputable, professional gunsmith. They are equipped with the necessary tools and specialized expertise to effectively address the problem. In numerous instances, the corrective measure involves adjusting the hand, a small internal component responsible for indexing the cylinder, or replacing worn parts. This is typically a relatively straightforward procedure, and a competent gunsmith can restore your revolver to functional condition promptly. Let's now consider preventative strategies. Consistent routine maintenance is fundamental to sustaining your revolver in peak operational condition. Begin by thoroughly cleaning and lubricating your handgun after each shooting session. Pay particular attention to the cylinder and forcing cone regions, as the accumulation of fouling and particulate matter can accelerate wear. Another vital preventative measure is conducting periodic inspections. Regularly examine the cylinder's lockup and alignment, as previously described. Identifying early signs of wear before they evolve into significant malfunctions can avert considerable complications down the line. Furthermore, ensure you consistently utilize high-quality ammunition. Substandard or out-of-specification cartridges can impose undue stress on your revolver, thereby increasing the likelihood of timing-related issues. Lastly, treat your revolver as the precision instrument it is. Avoid excessive dry firing without the use of snap caps, as this practice can induce unnecessary wear on internal components. With diligent care and attention to detail, your revolver will maintain the same level of reliability it possessed upon initial manufacture. In summary, revolvers remain among the most dependable firearms available. However, like all mechanical devices, they are not entirely immune to potential malfunctions. Timing problems, while infrequent, represent the most commonly encountered mechanical issue you may face. The positive aspect is that they are readily detectable and even more easily preventable through consistent and proper maintenance. We have covered a comprehensive range of topics today, from defining timing malfunctions to recognizing their indicators and outlining the necessary steps for both remediation and prevention. Should you ever observe symptoms such as debris expulsion from the cylinder or a compromised cylinder lockup, it is imperative not to disregard them. Addressing these issues promptly can prevent costly repairs and guarantee your revolver remains safe and dependable. Bear in mind, revolvers are engineered for longevity. With consistent maintenance and mindful attention to detail, they will provide reliable service for decades. Irrespective of whether you employ one for personal defense, target practice, or simply appreciate its craftsmanship, understanding how to maintain your revolver in optimal condition is indispensable. I trust this information has proven beneficial. If you have personal anecdotes or inquiries regarding revolver maintenance, please share them in the comments section below. And should you desire more in-depth demonstrations or follow-up discussions on this topic, kindly indicate your interest. Thank you for your continued engagement, and until our next encounter, remain safe and continue to enjoy shooting responsibly.